All right, let's get started. All right, quick recap. What are the 5 points of the First Amendment? Religion, petition, press, speech, assembly. Good, all 5. We talked about the Second Amendment yesterday as well, right? What is the Second Amendment?
Ensure security of the states.
It does ensure security of the states. Did we talk about the grammar of the Second Amendment and where the gun debate comes from?
I don't know.
No?
I think Joe did. It says something about the right to keep and bear arms, and it supports citizens to own firearms, does not prevent commercial regulation.
Yes. But something I guess I just forgot to go over. I went over it with my other class yesterday though, is the grammar. So this is why it's important. Stay in school, learn English. Because your grammar can affect the entire meaning of something.
Yeah.
And this is where the where you sit on the fence, why there's 2 sides type of thing on whether we're allowed to have guns or not comes from. What is this?
A comma.
That's a comma. What does a comma do?
It
Simulates like a
pause.
It separates a pause, but it's still one idea. If this were a period or a semicolon, it would be 2 separate ideas. A semicolon, they would still be linked together as the same topic, but 2 separate ideas. So, what this is saying is a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. Right of people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So, let me reword it so that you understand what this comma is actually saying here. Since we need a well-regulated militia for the security of the state, we are going to allow those people to keep and bear arms. And that can't be infringed. Does anybody understand what that means? Grammatically speaking.
So basically, we are kind of like well-regulated militia. We have the right to keep their arms.
And well-regulated militia is the army.
So
You're right.
they have the right.
But the people are not the well-regulated militia. The army is a well-regulated militia. So who, grammatically speaking, has the right to keep and bear arms? Members of the well-regulated militia. Grammatically speaking. Now, of course, Supreme Court and laws that have been made have interpreted these 2 things as 2 separate ideas. However, to change punctuation, we would need to pass an entirely new amendment. Can't adjust it because it does change the meaning, or can change the meaning. But the way it's currently being interpreted is what we talked about yesterday. Support citizens' ability to own firearms, but it does not prevent Congress from regulating it. All these good things. Okay, this is the way it's currently being interpreted. Why do many states also have a right to keep and bear arms? Many state constitutions also have an amendment in their constitution protecting the right to keep and bear arms. Why do they have it as well?
In case the federal government was to fail.
Yeah, if the federal government collapses, who's going to govern? States, each individual state. So they're going to make sure that we keep that. And the Third Amendment, pretty straightforward. Prohibits the government from forcing you to shelter troops in times of peace and in times of war, except when martial law is declared or if a law is requiring. So that would quartering maybe. That isn't something you'll need to know. Yeah. And amendment number 4. This is a big one. This is the one I'm gonna have 100 questions on probably. All right? Amendment 4 is search and seizure. And it reflects early Americans' desire to protect their privacy. They didn't want the government to be able to come in and take what they wanted and do whatever they wanted. They wanted the right to keep whatever they were doing, the privacy of their homes, private, without having to answer for it to the government. So for this reason, in the way the Fourth Amendment is written, authorities must have a specific reason for the search.
Like, what do you mean by specific?
A very specific reason. So, let's say they believe that you were a part of a hit and run. The police do. They have reason to believe it's you. When they obtain their search warrant, the search warrant can only be within the scope of evidence that can be collected to prove you had a hit and run. Which means they're not going to be able to search your bedroom. They're not going to be able to search your basement or your attic or anywhere else in your house. Generally speaking, that search warrant is going to be limited to your garage. And sometimes it can be even more limited to just your vehicle. Does that make sense? So they can't say, hey, we have a search warrant for a hit and run. Hey, we found marijuana growing in your basement. Right? Can't do that. That's against the law. And if they do find that, they say it's admissible in court. Can't be tried for it. Does that make sense? Has to be very specific. The scope very small. Here's another thing. Let's say you're pulled over for a traffic stop. What are you allowed to do? You have to stop. Whether the officer is stopping you lawfully or not, if his lights are on and you don't stop, that's now probable cause, and he doesn't need a search warrant anymore. So as soon as he flips on his lights, you have to pull over. Have to.
What if you can't, and you have to wait, like, drive down the road a little bit, then get on?
Sure, there's a reason.
Look like you're on a bridge or something.
You have to pull over, the law says, immediately,
And then he'll let you do maybe?
and then he might say, or she might say, move up or go here. But you do have to pull over.
Is it unmarked? That's dangerous.
All state highway patrolmen
Yep.
are in unmarked cars.
Like,
With no lights.
Why?
And so people can't, because research shows that when police officers sit in the median like that, people that are driving like idiots tend to slam on their brakes and congest the roadways behind them. So they use it as a way to justify having unmarked patrol cars.
But do they still schedule?
Yes.
So like,
Yeah, generally speaking, they're red Mustangs or something. Really? In my experience.
Are they new Mustangs?
Yes. Yes. They're totally unmarked. There's nothing on the side of them at all.
There's some here, and we saw someone New Year's Eve at a speedway, and there were black licenses. There were 2 black licenses. I don't know, 2 houses in a speedway.
Probably
They were
elephants.
high-fiving each other.
Do you know why they had Lexuses? Police officers, when they make unmarked cars, generally use cars that are confiscated in drug busts. So they confiscate the criminals' cars because they were used in illegal activity, and then once the case is over, then it remains property of the police department, and then they use it and turn it into unmarked cars.
It was like a slick black.
That,
So the reason they have no marked cars, it wouldn't have to do with anything like international, like drug trade, because I know there's huge highways that go straight through and a lot of drugs.
yeah, unmarked cars are usually used for monitoring or for travel of an agent or someone who's going to go investigate a crime. Does that make sense?
Okay. Not so much for traffic stops.
Yeah, but their jurisdiction ends at traffic stops. Okay. So search warrant must have a very specific reason. But let's go back. You're stopped on the side of the road. You're pulled over. The officer asks to take a look inside of your car. What do you say?
First thing I look at,
I know she's not paying attention. She can't even see the board. We're talking about it. You gotta participate. You gotta speak.
I have been speaking.
Okay? Police officer pulls you over. He asks to take a look inside of your
You
vehicle.
have to.
Huh?
You don't have to.
Doesn't have to what?
You don't have to say your name.
You do have to say your name.
He's a buzzer, you don't have to.
In Ohio, you have to present your license, your proof of insurance, and your registration of the vehicle.
You don't have to.
Every stop, but you don't have to say a word.
you don't have to. Cool guy.
Which is gonna give them your name anyways. All right, Brian, so you stop. You give them all the necessary information. They ask, do you know why I pulled you over today? You decide not to say a word, right? You don't have to.
Well, he already knows the reason why you
Right?
I don't know why.
But how many of you know that police officers are required by law to film all traffic stops? And they wear lapel mics, so they can hear you. And if you say, yes, I did this, it covers them when you can report, because they have a recording voice. So, let's just say you decide not to say a word, and he asks to take a look inside your vehicle. What can you say?
No.
You can say no. But let's say the officer thinks or smells something inappropriate, right?
Then you're wrong.
Smells weed.
Then he's not allowed
Guess
to
what?
go outside doing stuff though, is he not?
Absolutely.
And then you said, wait, what?
If he smells it, that's reasonable suspicion.
What if he
That police
smells?
officer now has the authority to take a look into anything that could hold marijuana. So he's not gonna take a look in, he's not gonna take a look inside of your engine. He can't look inside of your trunk, he would need a warrant for that. But if it's inside the vehicle and you can reach it, yes. So your purse, your glove compartment, that little console thing in the back seat of the chair, under the seat.
So he's not allowed to, you have like
See it?
alcohol bottle or something, hide it,
It's a dime.
Correct, you can't, if they smell alcohol on your breath, that's reasonable suspicion.
So he can't look at the engine, he's a liar.
If you search, man,
Chalk it up to something else like dilated pupils, lights, where the smell.
it'd be non-dilated pupils, but
Yeah, I mean, like for an opiate.
This is your medicine.
well, so anything that's reasonable suspicion. So let's say, for example, you're walking down the street. Say there's a jewelry store here, a travel agency here, and a drugstore on the other side. Okay, so drugstore, jewelry store, travel agency. And I'm walking back and forth, and I'm looking inside of this jewelry store like this, and then I get to the drugstore and I kind of stop. Then I turn around, and I'm looking like this inside the jewelry store, and I stop. Can a police officer stop me and ask me what I'm doing?
Yeah.
Why?
Reasonable suspicion.
It's something called reasonable suspicion. I don't know if you know what that means, but what does reasonable suspicion mean? I'm conducting a suspicious activity. By pacing back and forth, looking inside of this jewelry store, stopping at one point, turning around, stopping at the same point, turning around, that officer has the right to stop me and frisk me, okay? But they cannot detain me or arrest me. So an officer can say, hey, put your hands on the wall, pat me down. If I don't have anything incriminating on me, if I'm not carrying a gun, if I'm not carrying drugs, if I'm not doing anything like that, guess what? You gotta let me go. You gotta let me go.
That's probably why a lot of people get angry when they do that. I have rights.
Anybody ever heard of Ohio versus Lopez?
Yeah.
Ohio Supreme Court decision. It actually went to the federal Supreme Court. That example I just explained to you, That example I just explained to you actually happened. Ohio has the most landmark cases of any state in the Supreme Court. And this made it legal constitutionally to stop people that you think might commit a crime.
So they can just make an assumption of you there.
Absolutely.
That's Jake.
Yes.
So they can just like.
So what happened is when that police officer stopped and searched that person, they found a gun. That person was concealed carrying a weapon illegally.
But then it's just okay. If they don't have anything else, it's nothing. That's stupid.
Now, what, like, if you were walking past the wood like that, and you were would you still get, would you get in trouble for carrying that gun?
Open carrying a weapon?
Yeah.
No.
Even if you were walking past like that, and if he stopped you, would he take your gun from you?
Yeah, a police officer is always allowed to take a firearm from you in any altercation. It's to provide officer safety. So they can take a weapon from you, unload it, have a discussion with you, and then upon leaving, they have to give it back to you. Okay. To be lawful on a search or an arrest, there must be probable cause. Probable cause is different from reasonable suspicion. They are not the same thing. Probable cause, police officer can put you in handcuffs and throw you in the back of the car. Reasonable suspicion, they can stop and search you, but unless they find anything, you're free to go.
So, if, like, if they had a bicycle that was reported and stolen and you were riding down the street on a bike, did
With
they,
the bike with the same description?
so they could take you off the bike and like detain you, put you in the car and everything, even
Sure.
if that's your bike, this red hunt, the one that you sold?
I mean, they can stop you and say, hey, is this your bike?
Yeah.
Most of the time, it's pretty easy to tell. Like, if somebody commits a murder and they say, suspect fled, and then you see somebody with a knife and blood on their shirt,
Yeah,
it's probable cause.
that's how you know what you're going to do.
Right. Obviously, basic knowledge. Grade 1 stuff, right?
So they'll find them.
Security rule number 3, doesn't matter crime scene.
Yes.
No, why not?
We'll see on the crimes. So what would be an example of probable cause if you are stopped in a traffic stop? Because this is going to be 90% of your police altercations in your life. It's going to be traffic stops. So that's going to be the majority of my examples.
Probable cause.
What would be probable cause in a traffic stop? Paraphernalia, yes. Because possessing illegal drug paraphernalia is against the law.
I've seen that video, it was on Facebook, this guy, he got caught with a dime bag, and he kind of flew it, threw it out his window.
I saw
Yeah, I
that.
got out, tried to shoot it.
Wait,
But how did you get the whole thing?
In case he got pulled over, you know? It's smart.
So if you, oh my god, why, people
There's 47.
like, I might get pulled over, like, people like get pulled over and they
Yeah, that's a big,
Oh, he missed
big
that shot.
deterrent.
I know somebody got pulled over, and they were drinking, but they put the drink under the seat, and now got pulled over because they didn't have a license.
Yeah, please have both license plates on your cars. It's the worst way to get pulled over. You have to have both. Yeah. You also are violating the law if you have a license plate in your windshield. Has to be past the outside of the vehicle. Yeah,
Has to be down.
Why is it loud?
I don't know, that's a good question.
Should just be incredibly rude to all your peers there. Just out of curiosity, so what if you happen to driving somebody else's vehicle and there was say an empty beer can in the bed of the truck?
I also can't hear him at all.
So shut your butt. Anyways, so if I was driving somebody else's truck and there happened to be like an empty beer can in the bed, do they charge you for that?
Depends. Can you access the bed from the cab of the truck?
Just out of curiosity, I'm just theoretically speaking, no, you couldn't.
They can pull you over for flying out though.
They could do that.
Yeah, literally, it's $500 fine.
One fine.
They didn't file it, it's not Yeah.
So let's see, probable cause could be an empty alcohol container on the floorboard. Fully 100% empty, probable cause, open container, OVI, and you can go to jail. Grabbing someone else's empty container in your vehicle.
Really? Under the seat, whatever, and you're so misjudged.
It's the same thing like if somebody's illegal carrying a weapon in your vehicle. When you get behind the wheel of the vehicle and go onto the road, you are taking full responsibility of that vehicle and anything within it. So you're responsible for knowing what everybody else in your vehicle has. And if they don't want to tell you, don't give them a ride, especially if they're sketchy. Okay? Yeah.
If you got pulled over with a bunch of like drunk people in your car and you weren't intoxicated, could you still get in trouble?
No, not unless there's an open container or you have a blood alcohol content. Does anybody know what the legal limit is in Ohio? 0.000.
What?
Anything above 0 is an OVI.
Nice.
Then why does it say on the test .08?
0.08 is going to put you in jail. 0.08 makes it a felony.
What if it's .06?
Still an OVI. You're going to get fined and you're going to get points on your license, but you're not going to go to jail. But if it's over 0.08, it's going to be bad news. And if you're under the age of 21, it's also 0.00, but you're allowed to have a 0.02. And it's to allow for like cough medicine and lozenges.
So what if you have .02, it's an OVI?
If you're 0.02 or above,
Like
and
just
if you're under
0.02 or
21, yeah, you're going.
What if
that's
I'm
felony.
Saying like .02 or under, like, yeah, what if you took cough syrup and then you start driving and
You're not allowed to drive on cough syrup, it says it on the label.
You're not allowed to talk to me.
What
You're not allowed to operate a vehicle
All I'm
with
saying
cough
is,
syrup.
if somebody
You're
drinks
drinking
cough syrup in
in
your
your
car.
If the label says don't operate a motor vehicle while on this, you're not allowed to.
What about mouthwash?
So-
Things like that.
Yeah, mouthwash will like.
So does it make
Yeah, but then.
Hold on,
it's
I'm gonna
not-
answer Becky's question first, and
How
then
many
you.
people just swallow mouthwash?
Becky says, you're driving a vehicle, passengers in the vehicle are drinking, can you get in trouble?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Well, what if you were like, coming lazy first, I didn't make a blow, I did like the breathalyzer test.
Yes,
I was checking it all night and I believe it. They don't have that alcohol, but I just didn't know.
mouthwash will make you blow about a 0.2 if you blow right after you take it. Problem is, once you blow that high, whether it's mouthwash or cough syrup or straight liquor, they can take you into custody. It doesn't matter. So using mouthwash isn't gonna get you out of anything. It's gonna make it worse.
No, that's what I'm saying, like, what if that's what, like, you weren't drinking, then you like.
Then say, hey, it was mouthwash,
And breathe out.
then they're gonna ask you to take a blood test, and you're gonna have to go to the police department within 24 hours, submit your blood for testing. If it comes back, blood alcohol content 0.0, you're fine.
It's great.
So they make you pay for the test if it comes back positive. And then you have to pay your fines, and then you have to do all that stuff. Any other questions on what if or could this be? please ask me, because this is probably the only time you're ever gonna get direct instruction from a teacher on what to do to get away with things.
Well,
This is my job, to teach you about this. Yes.
Don't drink.
All right, here's a law you may not know. Your brake lights, how many do you have on every car that's been produced since 1974 and forward? You have at least 3. You have to have at least 3.
You have to have that.
2 must be working at all times. 2 brake lights must be working at all times. How many headlights need to work at all times? Both at all times. If you have a headlight out, you can get fined for it. Usually they turn on their brights because the headlights are.
Pretty bright, you idiot.
What about flashing your brights at an oncoming car to warn them about a police
You're
officer?
not allowed to
Is it illegal?
do it. You're not allowed to do it. You can get pulled over for it.
Wait, what?
Flashing your warrant about a police officer.
we've had a cop do that to
You're not
us
supposed to
before.
do it.
It is not illegal to flash your lights.
You just can't warn.
It is illegal to warn oncoming motorists. How do they know that you're doing that?
I already knew about it.
The best reason my uncle, I told you, he's a police officer, he pulled over a guy because he flashed his brights. And the guy said, hey, I was just warning you about the dog that was crossing the road. And my uncle said, oh, there was a dog? He's like, yeah, it was going on this side of the road and it was going across. He said, oh, thanks for the warning, I didn't see the dog, you're free to go. And got back in his car before he realized that the guy was just making something up, trying to get away with it. So, you do with that whatever you want.
Did he still find him?
That's good. He's just like, all right.
I gotta use that one.
Yeah. It was one of those things where you got your, wait.
I flashed my lights to drivers that are over the line. Last time I swear I saved this dude while you got hit a pole right there at Birch Road. Like my lights like 3 times. He was like, whoa, right back in the middle. I think he thanked me. Silent. He's probably texting.
Fall asleep behind the wheel? Illegal.
Even if you just cry too hard and you swerve, it's no BI, just so you know.
Even if you cry too much.
Yeah, this one girl was crying on the way home and she was like going off the road a little bit and they pulled her over and said that it was no distraction while driving, so they gave her.
You're supposed to be.
Sure, it wouldn't be an OBI, so it would be a fine.
Yeah.
What about driving with headphones in?
That's
No.
Illegal. Against the law.
I used to do it all the time now.
Cannot drive with headphones in.
Oh,
You are allowed to drive with a Bluetooth in, one earphone. One ear can be covered, but you have to have just one ear.
Say your car has Bluetooth and you have your phone hooked up to it and you're talking on the phone through that, can you get in trouble?
If you're touching.
That's kind of a gray area.
Okay.
At a certain age.
If you are looking at your phone to change the music or whatever you're doing, that's not illegal. Only texting, Is illegal. and it's only if you're under 18 years old. The state of Ohio doesn't recognize texting as an offense to be pulled over for, unless you're under the age of 18. Cities can, like Springfield City enforces texting while driving. We have no state law against texting while driving. But it is really dangerous.
And for people over 18 while driving, they can be talking on the phone, right?
Sure.
I can talk on the phone.
Unless they do an accident, that could probably be.
Just so you know.
If you're 18, yeah.
I live in my
Right now.
Yeah, if you're 18.
I don't have speaker, so I'm not speaker like.
Any other questions? A search or an arrest usually requires a search warrant or an arrest warrant. The only time the officer would not need a search warrant or an arrest warrant is if you give them what? Probable cause or permission, although I wouldn't give my permission to be arrested, so. Yeah,
Do cops sometimes like go to the BMV and wait for people that have like an active warrant to come in, like to arrest them.
Like if they're renewing the tags on their car or getting their license updated. or
Yeah,
something.
and they have like a active warrant. Well, cops sometimes sit there like and wait to see if they come in, and then if they can then arrest them. Like, are they allowed to do that?
They could. One of the most common places that police officers find those types of people is on entrance ramps to highways, to major interstates. So, like 68 and 70, 72 and 70. You'll see, like, when you drive down the road, you think it's sort of random wherever cops are placed, like in the median. Take a look, think about it. They're always near state routes. They're always near big interchanges where a lot of cars are coming off. For multiple reasons. One, higher traffic flow, it's more dangerous just by having more people on the road. And number two, they're running plates. So the new technology that police officers do is basically they have a camera, they don't even need to run license plates anymore. It just takes a picture of every car that goes by and runs the plate automatically. And if it comes back, they can tell us.
It's on the board, is that what that is? There's one that's like, oh, I can't think of what it's called, but it's like on the road of the highway that leads to Dayton Children's.
Yeah, there are some road cameras that take
But
pictures
there's
of license plates.
There's like the big green sign, and then there's legit, like, there's a thing that says something about the camera, and then there's a camera right behind it. What does it do?
It could do a lot of things. Legally, they're allowed to check for license plates. Legally, they're allowed to check for speed, and legally, they're allowed to check for running red lights.
I have sped past those things so many times and never have to.
Then it's probably not a speed camera. Although getting out of a speed camera takes pretty easy. There's a lot of calibration laws. They are, again.
Wait,
They have to be calibrated every 30 days, and they have to be manned by someone watching them all the time. They can't sometimes spit it out.
What are you talking about?
Like, it'll take the picture automatically.
Those are red lights.
Those are red light cameras. Red light cameras are legal.
They're legal. I hope they don't.
Speed cameras got banned for a while. Not red light cameras.
All the red light ones.
So why don't we put the trash bags over the lights at?
I need.
Over those cameras, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they had a reason to install them.
red light.
Generally speaking, red light cameras cost more money than they generate in revenue.
My dad told me
So,
that, like, for a red
a lot of
light,
people don't
thing now, a police officer has to physically see it. The police.
Like how it was with the speed limit, they have to be safe.
That could be up to like the county. County or the city. can decide that.
I did go to for Wendy's and I ran a red light. I didn't use red light.
No, but I don't think it needs to run red lights or stop signs. Any more questions over Amendment 4? I'm sure it'll come up soon, that's right. Amendment 5, anybody know what it is?
Wait,
This is an important one. A lot of people don't know about.
but I know it.
Tell me.
No. Isn't it like where you don't have to talk?
There are 4 important things. One of them, double jeopardy. No one can be tried for a serious crime unless a grand jury has decided there is enough evidence.
My friend got speeding ticket, they wrote down their own birthday, so everything was in the school.
That happens every day.
The cop right now,
So,
No, people are-
basically what happens is a prosecuting attorney, which is the person that's trying to put you in jail, they have to say, we have enough evidence against you to a grand jury or a group of your peers that have been called. And if they say, yeah, that's probably enough evidence to have a case, then your case is allowed to be tried. But if you don't have enough evidence and the jury says you don't have enough, you can't have a trial. Yeah, absolutely, because you haven't been convicted. But it prevents people from having to go to court and answer for crimes that there's no reason to believe that they committed at all. And so people that are in power don't use this against their enemies or people they don't like. Yeah, Matt.
So, like, if you're going to be tried for a crime, they can prison or put you in jail, right? For a extended period.
They can hold you.
Hold you.
Yeah.
What's the maximum amount of time they can hold you? Like 6 or 7 months?
Until your trial's over.
Really? So they can hold you for a year and then you can be ruled not
But,
guilty.
I mean, you can get out, you have bail and bond, and then that is, you can leave and do what you want during the time being, come back for your trials. If you can't afford it, or you're being held indefinitely, and usually to be held indefinitely, you're on trial for the death penalty, or you have shown in the past that you're gonna flee and run away. But other than that, you're gonna have a bail and bond. All right, that's all we're gonna get through today. Pack your stuff up, get ready to leave.